We are now joined by Carol Hack. Carol is co-chair of Michigan Week Breakfast and also an avid member of West Bloomfield Youth Assistance and West Bloomfield Rotary. Carol, thank you so much for joining us again this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. So Carol, can you give us a bit of a refresher on what Michigan Week is and what the breakfast, what role the breakfast plays in it?
Sure. Some people have heard this many times, but some people still do not know what Michigan Week is. And the first Michigan Week was launched on May 2nd, 1954 by a gentleman named Don Weeks, who was a former state of Michigan economic development director, which that department no longer exists. His idea was to bring business, labor, government, and education communities together to promote Michigan and to allow the residents to beat their drums for the state of Michigan, which we tried to reflect that in our last Michigan Week breakfast. Michigan is the only state to celebrate its attributes then and now. It was a week-long celebration back in 1954, with each day promoting a different segment of the state, and at the end of the week, it all was brought together by a breakfast. Thus, the breakfasts have been going on ever since, and that's what started it. But here in Greater West Bloomfield in 1972, former superintendent of West Bloomfield Schools, Dr. Anthony Witham, thought it was time that Greater West Bloomfield joined the list of communities that celebrated Michigan Week. So in my day, we always did something every day of the week for Michigan Week. And it has waned a little bit, and it's waned all over the state. So he did what Don Weeks did. He brought people from the school, government, business and community leaders together to brainstorm and to think of a week-long events that we could promote Greater West Bloomfield in the state of Michigan. So that also culminated in the Michigan Week breakfast on Friday. We no longer focus on a week-long celebration, but we do honor those volunteers among us annually at our Michigan Week breakfast the second week of every May of the year.
Nice. So what would you say some of the biggest milestones Michigan Week has reached since you've become a member?
Well, before I became a member, though, I think the biggest milestone is that we're still celebrating Michigan Week when all the other communities have dropped out. And I believe the last one to drop out was in 2010. So from 2011 up until now, Greater West Bloomfield is the only community in the state of Michigan that celebrates Michigan Week. The biggest milestone is last year we celebrated our 50th consecutive Michigan Week breakfast at Wabi Country Club, which that afforded us, I wanted to say we hold that breakfast to honor many volunteers in our community that make Greater West Bloomfield the best place to live, work, and play. That allowed us to apply to the Historical Society of Michigan to receive an official Michigan milestone plaque. And a milestone plaque, I believe, might be a little bit different than when you see a historical building. There'll be a green plaque on a wall, not on the wall, but mostly they're on posts. And that designates that that's a historical building, a historical site, a historical park. But what we received was a milestone plaque, which is not green. It's a beautiful color of blue, which is my favorite color, so I'm real happy about that. Which that will be permanently placed at the West Bloomfield Public Library. At this time, we don't have a date for that, but when we do, we will certainly have another fun celebration for that. But of course, the biggest milestone was last May, and we tried to bring in a culmination of what happened in the past by having pictures of the parades that we used to have, the things we used to do once a week or once a day every week leading up to the breakfast. So we still have those, and I think we'll hold on to those for a while, maybe bring them back at other breakfasts for people to look over again and see who was involved from 1972 until the present. So we also received a letter and a certificate from the Historical Society, which we had framed, and we received proclamation from the governor, both which were displayed at the breakfast last year. Now they're home for the present time. I don't know how long, are at the West Bloomfield Public Library.
So what is the biggest goal that you have for Michigan Week for the future? Like, what do you want to be able to see in future years as Michigan Week comes by?
Well, of course, our goal is always to make sure everyone knows about Michigan Week and knows about the purpose of Michigan Week. And the purpose is to shine a light and lift up those who give of their time on a daily basis, their talent and their personal resources that they do, whether they're working in West Bloomfield, whether they live in West Bloomfield, whether they worship in West Bloomfield. All of those things give you the opportunity to become nominated for one of our many awards. So we are constantly trying to figure out ways to bring more people into the mix. We have changed the award names, we are adding awards, but our largest group of award winners is the honor roll, and that sometimes can be up to 40 people. Then we have about 5 or 6 other categories that are competitive that each can have about 5 people each. So every year we try to evolve. We try to change up the award names where it's appropriate, add awards, take away awards that aren't relevant anymore, but mostly to bring more people into the mix and let more people be recognized for the things that they do in West Bloomfield that make us the best place, I think, in Oakland County and in the state of Michigan to live. So what we'd also like to do is make sure that everybody knows the nomination start and end date, the registration start and end date. And I gave those dates a few segments ago, but we will have our first meeting in September. And after we have our first meeting, then we will lock down those dates. And in a few weeks, I'll mention again when you can start nominating, when it will end, and all that's very important. And you can start registration for the breakfast and when that will end, and that's very important because we try to place everybody where they want to sit. Every group wants to sit with each other. So if you register soon enough, we can get everybody's place where they want to be, and it's a lot more fun when you're with your friends. And then we also disperse in between all of those tables some of the people who are our legislators. Our legislators always come, or they send a representative. Most of them come, but we like to put them in the middle of the Rotary group, the Sylvan Lake people, the Orchard Lake people, so that everybody can chat and get to know each other and find out what what West Bloomfield's all about for those that don't know. So in a few weeks, I will let you know what those dates are. And hopefully they will be locked down and we won't be moving them so that everybody will be prepared. And you can look forward to our e-blast from our partner, West Bloomfield Parks, that will let you know when nominations start. It will also give all the categories. And I believe from their site, you'll be able to jump right on and start nominating people. And you can also jump on and start registering also. But registration kind of doesn't start until the nominations end so that you know if you're coming or not. Say you're an honoree and your family wants to come, all of them need to be registered so that they can all sit together. But
Thank you.
No, go on.
I'm sorry, I said thank you so much, Carol. Unfortunately, that seems to be all the time we have for today. I really am so happy to have talked to you, and I look forward to hearing more about it next time.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.